Hello, hello, my hey, I got something to say, people. You know what? I just realized when this podcast comes out next Thursday, it's the day before Valentine's Day, and I always have my Valentine outfit on. But don't worry, I have hearts here. I can even put stickers on my face if you want to. But I just want to say I really, really, really appreciate all your support, all your guidance, all your powerful information, and the amazing guest you have sent my way. And I am so, so honored to be sitting here and speak to people from all over the world that are making such a positive, powerful difference, which leads me to my next guest, Arlene Cohen Miller. Arlene, thank you for being here from my favorite place in the world, Colorado.
Thank you. I didn't grow up here, but I've been here since 1997, and I really do love it out here.
Ooh, what brought you there?
Um, Business and love. So, yeah,
Business and love. I think that's a nice combination.
yeah.
All right. Well, before we get started on your one statement you want to say to women around the world and the men that support us, let me tell them just a little bit about you, Arlene. Arlene Cohen Miller, CEO of I was like so excited about this name. Jewel Consultancy is a work-life balance and harmony coach who brings a wealth of training and experience to help women compassionately and wholeheartedly lead themselves and create the life they desire. A life that works and feels right to them. Arlene is a professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation, an AV-rated Colorado attorney. Oh my gosh, we have so much going on, great stuff. And a certified meditation facilitator with a diploma in Transformational Holistic Counseling from Australia. That's a whole nother podcast. I want to go into all of those journeys you've taken. But before we get into your one statement, oh my God, you've had so much fun. You've been on so many different life journeys. It's incredible. And what I want to know is, are you still practicing them all right now?
Well, we started a law firm. I've owned two law firms, one in a suburb of Cleveland, and then I moved out here when my son was 9, and sold my business there in Cleveland and bought into a Colorado small kind of boutique firm. We sold it several years ago. I mean, I've been an attorney for a very long time, and by then I had my diploma in coaching and my diploma in transformational holistic counseling and certified in meditation, and I was just ready to take a U-turn and make a different impact in my life.
What kind of attorney were you, though?
For the first 12 years, I was a family law attorney. So I did divorce, dissolution of marriage, child custody, and I was appointed in divorce cases by the court to be the guardian ad litem representing the children in contested
Yeah.
divorces where the parents were a little bit dysfunctional. And then after that, I got a little bit burned out with that because I was like, I grew up in the suburbs of Louisville, Kentucky. I'd never seen dysfunction before. I wasn't really trained in it. I think I was
Wait a
too
minute,
young
you've
for all
never
that
seen
stuff.
dysfunction before? Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait, let's back
Well,
up.
not like the kind of dysfunction I was witnessing, to be like appointed as a guardian ad litem to represent
Oh,
kids. There was
oh,
alcohol, there was drug abuse, there was all sorts of things. And I seemed to be attracting that kind of stuff in the divorces I was doing. And I just didn't seem to have the tools in to have it that I have now.
yeah, of
And so
course.
yeah, so I just moved from that to commercial law. There was a really lovely gentleman in the building that I was renting space in. There was two attorneys, an employment agency, and a guy that had a collection business, and he would sell these packages to businesses to help them collect their debts. And I thought, I can do that. He asked me if I would assist him. And so I was doing all the ones in Colorado, and I was sending out to attorneys around the country, collection cases that were in other states. And I thought, this is fun. I can do this. I'm helping businesses. They deserve to be paid. And
Yeah.
so I literally stopped being a divorce attorney and started being a collection attorney and went up to a business meeting in Chicago that at the time had like 2,500 people come to it. And that was the beginning of it.
Oh, Arlene. That is so inspiring. Especially, I work with and deal with so many lawyers, and I hear all the time, okay, once you have your specialty, you're stuck in it. This is
Really?
completely different. You that's like not even near family law.
Well, you're still helping people, but collection law is not that complicated. You're just, especially if you're not if you're working in retail collection where there's all sorts of rules and regulations about what you can say to people or not. There's a big learning curve. But I was
Mm.
just representing businesses to collect their debts, and it's a different deal. You just have to really know, how to negotiate and work with people to try to come to a resolution. And you also need to know how to file a lawsuit and get a judgment and collect assets. So it's not the most rocket science
I
practice in
don't
the
know. I
law,
think
and
you're,
I could handle that.
yeah. Well, I get the big difference because I do have friends that are in family law right now, and they call me at least once a week just to let off steam. But to be able to negotiate and have those people skills, I think it's a different type of rocket scientist. It really does take a special skill set. It really does.
Well, yeah, I guess I won't, doesn't matter. But I think the coaching and the transformational holistic counseling diplomas that I got, the reason I went there was because I felt that I needed to improve my listening skills. They don't
Oh,
teach you really how to listen in law school. That's not a skill that's really emphasized. It's like, how do you win cases? How do you present yourself? How do you move forward for your clients? And I really felt that I needed those skills, and those skills were really helpful and really instrumental in the practice of this kind of commercial law.
good for you. Good for you, because I do believe one of the most amazing skill sets you could have is being a great listener.
Yes, and I thought I was a great listener, and I was a lousy listener because I didn't, because I was thinking about what I was going to say when people were talking, and you cannot be fully present when you're doing that. You have to be really there and listening, and
Mhm.
then just allow the words to flow through from there. Otherwise, it's all scripted, and people are going to feel the fakeness of it.
All right. Well, there are so many pearls of wisdom that are like separate conversations because listening skills was one of the biggest things people reached out to me to bring people on the show for. So, all right, let's take the leap. I still want to stay here before we go into your statement on what, where the path went from being a coach to a lawyer. Like, how did that transition?
No, I went from being a lawyer to a coach.
Oh my God, I'm a lawyer to a coach. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Now,
well, it, I just Well, I have really interesting friends, and one of my friends went to a school, became certified as a coach, and she just felt that what was missing, like, was the heart, to really connect with people and hold that really judgment-free space from the heart. It was
mm,
too heady, and she was brilliant. She started her own school. She wrote everything out. She kept on saying, "Arlene, why don't you come and take this course? It'll be really good for you." And I was really arrogant and a little bit self-righteous because, of course, I had a political science degree from Emory, and I was an attorney, and I went to law school, and I
I
didn't
get
need
it.
any more education. And I finally, about year three, it just really struck me. It's like, she's right. I could really use this. And so that's why I ended up going and getting a diploma in coaching and mentoring and going through her whole program, which was a life transformational experience. Absolutely wonderful, just joyful. I mean, it would stretch the heck out of me, way beyond my comfort zone, but it was wonderful.
I love hearing that because recently I've encountered some amazing coaches that I think they're doing wonderful things, but they did not really like their coaching program that they went through. So it's great to hear that you went through one that was like challenging you and upped your skills. And for you to know, like, hey, I really need this. That's awesome.
It took me 3 years, but I got there.
Hey, you got there. Okay. Well, I find this fascinating, and I could listen to your journey and your story for a while. And I have a friend, by the way, who is in family law, and her dream is always to be a coach. And she's just like, I don't know how I could do that. I'm going to have to send her this podcast.
Okay, and you can give her my cell phone, and I'd love to chat with her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say that it was easy,
Yeah.
but it's really a cool journey.
Yeah. And I have another one who's I don't know why I tracked it. Well, my husband's a lawyer. I have another one who is a judge in family law, and she would love to do this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm a member of the Colorado Women's Bar Association. I'm the only grandmother there. Because when I started my first law firm at 29, I immediately found out I was pregnant. And so I really have a really deep empathy for women that are professionals and
Mhm.
are raising families or whatever else they're doing because it's not easy. We went to this conference where they honor, it's like they honor the mothers and they have like round tables and we get questions to ask each other. And so I have grandkids, I can do that. And, one of the judges there was literally in tears sharing a story of how it was breaking her heart because she was dropping her son off at middle school. And he was sad because she couldn't come to all of his performances and something. And
Yeah.
so we get ripped apart as women, and
Yeah.
it's not easy. And I'm just grateful to be a part of that community.
Yeah, I've met I speak now and then at the bar association here, and I met the most terrific, amazing, incredible women. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, they're just incredible. All right, well,
Yeah. All
we're
right.
here. I'm going to be like, the time's up, and we didn't even get into your one statement. So let's get into the one statement. When I asked Arlene, what do you want to say to women and men supporters around the world? This is what she sent me. Remember the trinity of kindness, patience, and tolerance, and the importance of being kind, patient, and tolerant with yourself and others. Working with these sacred qualities as a trinity is powerful and support. I mean, this is just so powerful of you and enjoying life more fully and being more of your best self, no matter what's happening in your life. Why'd you pick this one of all the things you could pick, Arlene? I mean, I think I kind of know, but
Well, I really love it. I mean, there's many things I could say to your audience that might be powerful and helpful, but I always finish it's like a trinity, or actually a triangle. And I think, especially as women, we're not kind to ourselves. We don't acknowledge ourselves for all the little things we do every day. We gloss over it like, oh, it's no big deal. And we don't really acknowledge our gifts. And so, and that tends to lower us down and make us lower our vibration. We're not feeling as good about ourselves because along the path, we're not taking the time to acknowledge our strengths, to acknowledge all the little things that we do that all add up. And so what happens is if, we're also taught that we're supposed to give and give and give and give, well, then your cup of love is going to be dry and we're going to become angry and frustrated, and then we're going to get judge ourselves for being angry and frustrated, then we're going to judge ourselves for judging ourselves, and we go in this huge circle kind of thing. And so when we practice that kindness, patience, and tolerance, we're filling our cup up with love. We can share the overflow with others, and we're going to have the ability to enjoy our life more and actually give the love and the support that we want to the people around us, with more generosity of spirit.
so, I sent your statements out to my peeps beforehand to say if they had any questions for you. And they came flooding in about the kindest one. And so I'm going to kind of summarize a bunch of them, and we'll call this one person Sally Bell. And Sally Bell says, Dear Arlene, yes, I know I'm supposed to be kind to myself. And I know that when I listen to my stories, man, oh man, they're bad. I'm not very uplifting to myself. I catch myself and say, stop it. But I don't know really how to rewire my brain to stop it. I am a CEO of I guess she has 150 people in her company, and it's go, 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 go. And if I don't go, 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 the company won't exist. Please help. Do you have any simple techniques or tools that I can start being kind to myself? P.S. I just want you to know I am really kind to others. I like Sally Bell.
Yeah, I guess the place that I really recommend that you start is, and I say this a lot, so it's not the first podcast I've said it on, but we as women, and men know this as well too, they just do it in a different vibe that we give it in, is that what she was sharing is spot on. if a friend of ours came to us with what she just said, I don't know how to be kind to her myself. I have to be on the go all the time. And this is how I feel about myself because of it. We would know what to say. We would be nurturing. We would be kind. We would be supportive. We would champion her or him. And, if their head was up a dark place, we might even deliver a little bit of tough love and say, look, whatever we needed to say. So we already have the skills. All we have to do is practice turning around and applying it to ourselves. And I can hear all the women back there because when I started doing it, it was bloody uncomfortable. I felt like I didn't deserve it. Why was I doing this? This wasn't going to work. But like anything we want to learn, by learning to run a business, by learning, I used to run when I was younger, and you couldn't just go out there and run a half marathon. I had to practice. So practice is going to make permanent. As we practice talking to ourselves and being our own inner coach the way we would do to someone we love, a friend of ours, or anyone maybe in that company that we're working, that is our company, and we begin to apply it to ourselves, it's going to begin to sink in. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Bits of us are going to scream and yell and say, this is BS, this is not true. And I love you, get in the backseat of the car. I am in the driver's seat now, because with the personality and the ego is going to kick and scream, but that's not who I am. I'm a soul having this experience in this body, and I'm going to take charge in the driver's seat now, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. And if you're a successful businesswoman, like maybe a lot of your friends are, or a successful businessman, you have a lot of skills and abilities. You have accomplished a lot of things. You can do whatever you put your mind to. It's your choice. Do you want to do the work? Do you want to work with practice makes permanent? Do you want to acknowledge yourself along the way? Do you want to put the ego and the personality in the back seat and really acknowledge the beautiful heart that you have?
I like that. And you're coming at them with where they can meet you, meaning that they have accomplished a lot. They do have the skill set. I mean, if anybody sat down, most of these people wrote down everything they accomplished, they'd be like, whoa, I'm not bad here.
Yeah. We don't give ourselves credit where credit is due. It's like, oh, that's nothing. And we're on to the next thing, and we're beating ourselves up for things. And it's a learned behavior, and it feels very genetically passed on from generation to generation. So what we can do is we can model this new behavior and be a representative of it so that other people can go, wow, I can do this too.
Yeah, I like that. All right, I want to get this question. I want to make sure because I got it over and over again too. We'll call her Betty Boo. It is about. I gotta make up
Names are funny.
I don't know a Sally Bell. I don't know, but one time I said Sally, and they were like, "Wait a minute, I know a Sally." So
Okay.
that's negative self-talk and being aware of it. She wants to know, and a bunch of them, how do they start listening to that? Like, what do you do? Like, so they really want concrete skill. Okay, I'm going to start this. Here's my business plan almost like, okay, how do I start listening to see what voices are going on in my head?
That's a great question because when I was in my 20s, I didn't do that. And it wasn't until like a, I was always talking to a friend of mine and just sharing all the negative things that were happening with this guy I was dating. And the only reason I was with him is I had a really low self-esteem at that time. It was not a positive relationship. And what happened was she invited me to her daughter's wedding. She's a few years older than me. I was a young attorney, and not him. He drank too much alcohol. And I was devastated. And I realized at that moment, oh my God, my words have power. What I say really impacts people, especially when I'm dumping on them or I want to be reaffirmed. Or I think that that's how you're supposed to connect with a friend, by sharing all these negative things. So what I learned to do is I just asked the universe, please show me how I am talking to myself. And I kept like a journal in my room, or some pen and paper in my purse. And if lots of times I was doing it as I was driving my car. So when I pulled up and parked before I went in the grocery store, whatever I did, I'd write down a quick few words about what I was doing. And then I could turn that around and go, okay, mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. If I had a
Okay.
redo on this, what would I say? What would I do? What would it look like? And I would actually take a moment to feel and visualize it. And that helps us to ground a new behavior. So the next time that something similar
Yep.
comes up that would trigger us into that negative self-talk or that negative talk about what's happening on the planet or whatever it is, we can remember that we already felt and grounded a new way of being that's more about that positive self-talk and that positive way of being. It's not like having rose-colored glasses, but it's just giving us a foundation for the new.
You know, it's interesting because my entire life, Arlene, I have done movement, words, and laughter to get into a positive, powerful mindset. You know, it's something I would dance around even since I was a kid. Think of a word and then laugh about nothing. I didn't call it movement, words, and laughter, right? But I would do that. And I would just think, okay, well, how do I want to show up today? And I just did it because it made me feel good. I didn't know any science behind it. But years later, as I'm working with my clients, I see the research on it of the messages you feed your brain. And some people believe in the law of attraction and some don't, but it doesn't matter. How the brain works, it was rewiring your brain no matter what.
Right.
And I always remind myself over and over again, you know, not to doubt myself because I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't tell people this. Maybe, you know, and then I found the law of attraction and still people way back then were like, this is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now it's not so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because
No.
there's a science behind it. But for me, it was just like, I don't need the science. I know I just feel better. But I think
Right.
the key that I wasn't really good at for a long, long time was realizing that I did have that self-talk going on that wasn't serving me well.
Yeah.
I would just skip over it and push it down versus being honest with myself, you know, and being
Yeah.
aware of it, you know? And for me, it comes out more when you say you're in your car, it for me, it's when I'm biking or hiking or, you know, doing something out in nature, I'm more aware of it. But what I want to ask you is, what do you do? And I got a lot of questions about this too. Debbie Dude, we'll call her Debbie Dude, about not being angry at yourself because you have that self-talk. So, like Debbie said, I can't believe I'm 71 years old. I know better. I know this thought doesn't serve me well about, oh, I should have done this. I could have done this as a mom. I should have, would have, could have. But I can't stop thinking these thoughts. And I get so mad at myself for thinking these thoughts. And I'm 71. How could they still be there? So,
Okay. Two things. One, a really wise thing that a yoga teacher told me is can't lives on won't street. So if we say we can't, we're putting out to the universe that we won't change. So let's drop that language. And number two is that feeling is healing. There is nothing wrong with feeling angry, upset, frustrated, overwhelmed, burnt out. All of our feelings are 100% valid. They might not be the truth, but they are valid. And so if we get ourselves in a really grounded place, I like to pretend I'm a tree and there's light coming through me. And when it comes out my feet, it's roots of light, and I anchor into the heart of the planet. So I am connected with Gaia, the being that embodies this planet, and I am allowing her to love me unconditionally. Her love is unconditional, it's beautiful. And I am sending my gratitude and love to her. And what we can do is we can also just use that to help us just to be really centered in our hearts. And we can use that to help us expand our energy out so that it's okay to feel all those feelings and allow them to move through us. I'm going to get a little woo woo here. I don't know how woo woo you get with your audience, but I
very,
work with,
they're used to everything. Yeah.
okay, great. Awesome. I work with the universal violet flame. It's the seventh ray of source. It transmutes and transforms fear into love. It's the ray of source of the new age of Aquarius. And I just visualize that I'm in this column of light. It's flooded with the universal violet flame. It goes into the heart of the planet. So that anything I'm thinking or feeling or that I've done that's not about love, I can let it go and it'll be transmuted and transformed into usable energy for Gaia, for the planet. And God knows she needs our help because all the judgment of humanity is weighing down on her. So
And
we're being of service, and then we can just call
okay.
in the light and love of source to flood our bodies. So it doesn't matter how many times these feelings come up. It's not necessarily the same situation. We've had many, many situations over our life where we've judged ourselves, where we've been angry or upset, or we're blaming ourselves, and we say we can't let something go. It's just kids inside of ourselves. I'll say one more thing, kids inside of ourselves that need our love. So we know how to love others. All we have to do is turn around and say, I say, Arlene, how old is this bit of me that's having this little tanty? That's Australian for tantrum. And I go, oh, okay, she feels like she's 8. And I turn around and I visualize my 8-year-old self and I hug her and I love her and I apologize for not being there for her. And so we can love those bits of ourselves. We can let things go like that and begin to have a new experience. And I do facilitate and teach this if you can't do it on your own, but or just re-listen to the video a few times and see how that works for you. But it's it's very powerful.
I need you to say that one more time because I know they're going to be like, can she just say that one more time? Because some of them have said to me, they're listening with half an ear and they'll be doing something and they'll go, wait a minute. So let's just go over that piece, how you get into that light. Like, what do you do? Because I know they're really, and they should reach out to you, but let's just go over that again.
Okay, so I can't give everything here on the video because it's proprietary. You really have to have that one-on-one experience with me.
Okay.
But a simplified version is, okay, I need to be grounded and
Okay.
fully present in my body. And the easiest way that I know how to do it is to visualize that I'm a tree. Everyone can relate to trees. So there's this column of white light from source. And you can add the rose pink light if you want. It's coming through my body, in my heart center, goes down my legs. And when it comes out my feet, it's these huge, beautiful, magnificent roots of light that anchor right away into the heart of the planet. They
Mm.
just go there. And so I'm going to feel my spiritual heart, my heart chakra connected to Gaia's heart. And she's the beautiful being that embodies planet Earth. And we are
Gotcha.
her children, and she loves us unconditionally. And unconditional love is a rare commodity on this planet. There are no conditions on this love. She loves us for the joy of loving us. She doesn't expect anything back from us. And we can be grateful and send her our gratitude and our love. And the beautiful thing, and then we can work with the universal violet flame. And it's the 7th ray of source. It's the ray of the new age of Aquarius. You can either visualize it as violet light or a violet flame, and just visualize it coming down from source, flooding your bodies and fields, and pouring into the heart and anchoring into Gaia's heart. And then anything that we think, anything that we feel, anything that we've done, that we've judged, that there's less than love feelings or thoughts about, we can let them go into the violet flame, just drop them and allow them to be transmuted and transformed into love. We don't have to do anything, and it'll be gifted to Gaia as usable energy for the planet. And then if we let go of anything in our bodies or fields, we want to make sure that those vacant spaces are replaced with the light and the love of source. We simply call forth that light and love of source to flood our bodies and fields where that fear once was, and we begin to have more love in ourselves than fear. And the caveat is that as there's more love in ourselves, it's going to highlight where there is fear in ourselves. So there's going to be stuff coming up to let
Mm.
go of. And the thing we need to remember is that feeling is healing. If I did this for lifetimes, I would push all that stuff away. I didn't want to feel the bad feelings. I didn't want to feel the
Mm.
anxiety. I didn't want to feel all this terror that I'd had from other moments. And so it gets locked in your body, it gets locked in your energetic field, can cause mental stuff, can cause disease. We can just feel it and let it go. And feeling is healing. And so that's a beginning point of that, when we're really grounded like that, it helps us to be fully present here now. We're not worrying about the future. We're not remorseful about the past. We're right here. And so it is a starting point just to let go and to acknowledge that all of our feelings are valid. No matter how horrible they are, everything is valid. It might not be the truth. So what?
Yeah.
We can let it go. We can allow it to be transmuted and transformed into love as usable energy for Gaia, for the planet, part of our service work. And we can bring more light and love into those cells where that fear once was. And of course, practice makes permanent. There's no magic fairy dust that's going to come here.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when I was learning, it's like when I was running half marathons and 10Ks, I had to run a lot. You had to
Yeah.
practice in order to do that, especially out in Colorado when you're a mile up. Or when I went up to Steamboat or some of these other places and it's even higher. It's like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? Um, so I guess that's how I would break that down to slow it down again.
Yeah.
And I
I
hope
love
that's
that.
helpful.
It's very helpful, and they can always explore more and reach out to you, and it's beautiful. And they do call me a tree hugger, so this is really good for me. I freaking
I
love trees.
love trees. Oh my God.
Love them. Love them. I'd go out for a mountain bike ride, and I wouldn't come back for ever. And my husband said, "Did you find a tree?" I did. I did. I would just go on my bike and sit under a tree, which is why I liked coming out to Colorado. Arlene, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. But before we go, a couple things. Number one, is there anything we didn't get in that you want to say to the audience?
I'll just say it again. Please be kind and patient and tolerant with yourself because you're not just doing it for yourself. Because when we do something like that, like anything we're talking about, and we go, wow, this is so amazing, we imprint it in the lower Akashic records so that when other people are faced with similar situations and they're reaching for something to do, that excitement, that love and joy of experiencing that kindness, patience, and tolerance is there for them.
Mhm.
Not all that old stuff about how we have to beat ourselves up to be holy. That's a pile of garbage. That's not what we're here to do. So you're being of service, you're helping people that are following you, you're modeling behavior. So it's not all about us. And that's going to help you to feel more kindness, patience, and tolerance to be of service like that.
I love it. And how can they find you? If they want to work with you or follow you, what's the best way to reach out?
Well, Arlene Cohen Miller, my middle name is Cohen, Cohen. There's no one else there on the internet. If you Google me, you'll find all of my
Oh,
links. Um, if you go to Jewel, like the Diamond Consultancy, I have videos, I have blogs, lots of them. You can sign up for coaching, mentoring, or even a soul reading. And if you mention this podcast, you can leave me a voicemail message or a text message, please, because that's what I see first.
okay.
720-936-2634. Just mention this podcast and text me and I will respond.
I love this. Thank you, Arlene. I really appreciate it. Hey, I got something to say. Women around the world and men that support us. Arlene and I would really appreciate you rating, liking it, and sharing this episode. There's so many people in the world that could benefit from listening to this episode with Arlene. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Toodles. Thanks, Arlene.
Thank you.